Okay, Chapter 6, Section 1 will be on the President. So let's get into it. So the roles of the President. First role will be Chief Executive, Chief Administrator, Commander-in-Chief, Foreign Policy Leader, Chief Agenda Setter. And this is our current President, President Barack Obama. So these are just the roles of the President that we'll be going over right now. Okay, so Chief Executive. So it is the President's responsibility to see that the government programs are carried out and that the laws are passed by Congress are implemented. So the laws that are passed by Congress basically is the President's job to execute, and that's the key term for this role. He is the executor of the laws that are passed by Congress. So he makes sure that these laws are actually carried out as well as the government programs that are laid out. So that is his responsibility. He is the executor of laws and government programs. Okay, so now Chief Administrator. Chief Administrator acts as the manager of the 15 executive departments and the numerous federal agencies that carry out the government policy. So there's 15, departments and numerous government agencies. So I'm not gonna here list them all, but I want you guys to get an idea of what we're talking about. So for the departments, I have Department of Defense, Department of Education, and Department of Agriculture. And then for the agencies, I got top, well-known ones. The Central Intelligence Agency, as known as the CIA. Our Space Exploration Agency, which is known as NASA. And our Federal Bureau of Investigation, which is also known as the FBI. Okay. Commander-in-Chief. So basically, he is the leader of the nation's military. He is the commander-in-chief of all the armed forces. And so that includes all 6 branches, which is the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, Coast Guard, and as well as the state's National Guard. That's pretty self-explanatory. The foreign policy leader. So he has the job of formulating the nation's plans and procedures for dealing with other countries. So the thing to realize on this one is that he is the negotiator. He is our communication between other nations, whether it's in the Middle East, whether it's China, Japan, or even our neighbors in South America, or even Canada. He is the negotiator between any policies um, or treaties between nations and any policies, whether it's embargo, or things that deal with the nation's foreign policy. So, Chief Agenda Setter. So basically, he helps Congress prepare the annual federal budget. If you're up with the current events, you know him and the Congress basically fight to get an annual federal budget. This may be a long, grueling process, but it's their job. It's his job to assist Congress in preparing a federal budget. So that's just one of many of his roles. So now we're going to go into the formal characteristics of the presidency. The first one we'll be going over is the written qualifications. Next will be that we'll discuss the terms of office, election to office, so how a president actually gets elected, and succession, and salary benefits of the presidency. So number one, written qualifications. So this is just cold hard facts right here. He or she must be at least 35 years of age, have lived in the country, the United States, for 14 years, and be a natural born citizen. Basically, this was developed by our founding fathers during a period where, we just finished the War of Independence, and the founding fathers were afraid that a foreign a foreign person might, take over the brand new vulnerable country. So this was their policy to keep it in-house and make sure that an American runs the country. Terms of office. So everybody knows the president can only serve 2 4-year terms, but also put the maximum of 10 years because in this case where a president is deceased and the vice president takes over, if he takes over in the, the first 2 years of his presidency, he is still eligible to do a full 4-year terms of office. So that would equal in terms of 10 years, a total of 10 years. This comes after, FDR's long presidency. Well, it's just the case of him being in long presidency was the case of being in wartime, so he felt that it was his duty to stay in in office to see through the war. But now we do have this by the 26th Amendment, 2 4-year terms guaranteed for the presidency and a maximum of 10 years. So that's good to know. Election to office. So how do you get elected? Basically, we have our two big parties, and so we'll see the majority of presidency come through these two parties. So what they'll hold is a primary, and what these primaries are is basically these parties will try to choose somebody that would represent their party and go the step further to the presidency. So the parties choose their leaders to run. So the leaders that they chose then go to the National Convention Center, their national convention. Well, the national convention is like, I want to say, a whole big party. Basically, this is a place where the leaders of the party that are chosen actually choose usually somebody that they ran against as their VP to run with. So they actually choose their running partners and they announce, and it's a whole big thing. It's basically a show of power within the party and just to gain more support within the party. Um, and then in turn goes to election day. So once the head of the party and the running mate is decided, then it's election time. Then the voters choose who's going to be our next president. Succession. So let me break it down for you. So this is the line of president succession. So say in any case if something were to happen to the president, the next person to assume the powers of the president is the vice president, speakers of the House, president of the Senate, and so on and so on and so on. I mean, to get down the list is very highly unlikely just because of the whole protection of the president and just the safety, how we go about things nowadays, where back in the old days, this was likely. I mean, you can see the Secretary of State possibly getting in if there's assassination, but nowadays, if the president becomes ill, that's the biggest thing. You'll see the vice president, but any further, we have never seen a Speaker of House become the president, so that's just there just in case. Okay, and the salary and benefits. So basically, the president makes a cold hard $400,000 per year, and that's what he makes. He also has a travel allowance, so he gets a certain amount of allowance to travel each year. But he also gets the staff included within the White House, the first Air Force One. He gets the protection of Secret Service. He gets health and retirement benefits. So I mean, these things start to add up. But in my personal opinion, he doesn't make quite as much money as for the amount of work he puts in. But he does see a lot of benefits come his way. So he's very taken care of. No need to worry. we're going to go to unwritten qualifications. So the presidential background and a personal qualities. So we're just going to finish off here. So this is unwritten qualifications, and I put Abraham Lincoln because he's the ideal president that everybody looks for. You know, honest Abe, you know, the great emancipator. Um, I also put Lyndon Johnson. You know, these are two presidents that went against the norm during their presidency just to see social equality in their presidency. So I mean, unwritten qualifications. The people want loyalty, they want respect, everybody likes a family man. These are just qualifications people just find they want in their president. They want a good man in office. They don't want a big business money maker in office. No, they want a good guy that can make good moral decisions. And that concludes our lesson for today. So next lesson will be section 2 on the judicial branch. So thank you and have a great rest of the day.